Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the Granite State as the 2016 year now 9 days in, slowly building to back up our racing schedule. And as things return to normal, that means the drivers of the United Sim Racing Snowplow Truck Series get to take back over our Saturday night slot as we roll into round 3 of 6 on the inaugural 2015-2016 USR Snowplow Truck Series, this time at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon for the New Hampshire 130. It also marks the halfway point on this winter truck schedule. 3 down at the conclusion of tonight, 3 to go. We're happy to have you with us on LSRTV and iRacing Live, joined by Andy Kessler, myself, Evan Pasocco, and Cisco Scarmuza down in the LSRTV trailer, pushing the buttons and getting us on air. And Andy, I don't like New Hampshire. I know we've talked about this a couple of times. That's mainly because, though, it's a very difficult track to drive at, and I'm speaking from a driver perspective. There's not a lot of banking, if any, really, what it feels like from behind the wheel, and these guys are getting set for what could be a pretty tough race at 130 laps.
Yeah, it is a tough track, with, like you said, with the low banking, and it's one of them tracks where you want to drive that low line, but that low line is really flat. You really actually want to go into that second groove. And it's one of them, you got to be very patient in the corners is what it is. You think you can get back on the throttle, and if you do so too soon, you end up putting yourself in the wall off the corner. So it is a very tough track to master, but it's a very fun one once you get the hang of it. It is one of my favorites, and we're getting set ready to get this thing underway tonight.
The qualifying session just now rounding to a close, so as we get set for 130 laps at 138 miles tonight, let's take a look trackside at the LSRTV starting grid. We'll rack them and stack and let you know where everybody's going to line up. Pole position in this one going to be taken by the number 4 Toyota, Rhett McBride, going to start from the top spot tonight. His pole lap of a 30.421, fastest amongst everybody else. Defending Truck Series champion, though, Jamie Walker will sit shotgun on the front row, qualifying in second. Dan Murray's going to make up on the inside of the next row. The number 5 truck will roll from third. Outside to him, you'll find 54. Tim Matthews qualifying fourth, Andy, and rounding out our top 5 to 7, that's Cody Gibson.
Ryan Keeson, the 24, is going to roll off 6. Inside of row number 4, we got Aaron Bennett, and to his outside, the 99 of Jody Green. And the row number 5 is going to make up the number 6 of Tommy Ryan, and to his outside, in the 10th starting spot, it's Greg Mall.
And we take a look to the back half of the field. P11 going to be the 68 of Scott Simley, and the 12th spot for Keith Butt. Brian Bible in 13th, 14th, Chris Baines, final driver to put down a time in qualifying. You'll find it back on row 8. Eric Wortley inside in 15th. Outside to him was Jeff Ryan.
Chase Cabry, Jason Swan, Daniel Eberhardt, and Robert Gillenwater will take a provisional here tonight. 20 trucks set to make up this 130-mile event. 130 miles, it takes up a lot of time here at New Hampshire. Pretty slow speed lap time wise for a 1 mile track, just 30 seconds for a lap time. So Evan, you say you don't like it. I love it. I think it's a fantastic track, but like I said, it's just all about patience in the corners. You really want to get on that throttle, but you can't. You got to hold it just for that couple extra seconds to really get that bite off the corner, and that's where you're going to see the top guys really make their mark, is center off of the corner. That's where you get your speed here in New Hampshire.
Patience is going to be a big thing that these guys are going to have to deal with tonight. Whoever can keep that truck at a relative speed but keep calm through the next 130 laps, going to be the one that ends up as the victor. The pace car can make the turn down at the pit lane. We're happy to have you with us on LSRTV2. Green flag in the air, underway from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And Rhett McBride got the jump to the bottom. Going to lead us down to turn number 1. Already, though, with some contact out of 4. He got hit in the back end, but a 5 at Danbury. That's the battle for second behind, as that number 5 Toyota Tundra works with some front end damage. Side by side, Jamie Walker started outside on the front row. He'll drop back in that battle for second. Real tight to turn 3 goes Danbury. Both those guys push high.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, being patient in the corner right there. Murray in that 5 truck just got in too hot. You can see exactly what it does without the banking. Pushes you right up the racetrack. Jamie Walker able to realize that, moves up the track also. He ends up with that second spot, so a good heads-up call right there for the 08, and able to pick up that second spot, setting his eyes now on that leader.
20 trucks make the grid. 20 trucks cross the start-finish line to get tonight's race underway. Everybody out there on track for the first race on a 2016 calendar, and McBride out in front after being the third fastest driver in practice. Jamie Walker, though, was the top spot in that qualified P2, was able to get around Dan Murray on the outside of the racetrack to 5. We talk about the lack thereof, the lateral grip. That's why the 5 pushed high in turn number 3. Walker got that spot, and now your top 3 drivers are able to kind of spread themselves out just a little bit. Ryan Keese is number 24 Chevrolet. He's in front of the mix that you're taking a look at now. On board with the 88 of Keith Butt, sideways in turn 4. He will hang on 4 wide as they split the gap off the corner. Keith Butt with a spectacular save at lap number 3. He got tipped in the left rear by Scott Simley at a 2-wide deep battle, 2 rows deep. He's able to hang on to it, and that's going to spread out that pack just a little bit as everybody got off the gas and tried to hang on to it.
That was an awesome save right there by Keith Butt. I think we can get a replay up for you. That was just an amazing save, a nice piece of driving right there. And that's what you'll see a lot here tonight with the guy pushing up on that inside. Scott Simley did just a bit. Doesn't take much. The 88 was on the gas at the same time. That puts him going sideways, but a great job by everybody behind him, too. You talked 4 wide to get around him. They split him in every single direction. One of those guys in that mix was the 89 of Daniel Eberhard, already up to that 13th spot, started 19th on the grid tonight.
And again, that was a big pack around P10. They kind of got split up on that. It transferred a little bit back, though. Battle for 14th, the 82 of Chris Baines, top side of the racetrack. The Dallas Cowboys Chevy can make the move on the outside. The 88 loses another spot. So for Keith Butt trying to recover, get back going with his tires heated up from breaking sideways like that, he's going to have a little bit of an uphill climb if he wants to get back to where he was. Bottom side was open for Jason Swan that time. And one sideways, though, off the corner as the 18 tried to dig a little bit too much. That's going to give Butt the spot back, and Baines going to slide now in line in front of them. This going on, though, 6.5 seconds behind the race lead, and that's just going to be a battle, I'd say, in about a lap or 2, because Jamie Walker closing the gap in. The gap between that 4 and the 08 in front now, just 0.2 of a second, and they themselves well out in front the class of the field. They're putting about 2 seconds on Dan Murray in third.
Yeah, and that's one guy you don't want in your rearview mirror. Jamie Walker, just unbelievable truck driver. And we saw him last season, Evan, in that championship run he had with, I believe, I'm probably getting my numbers off a little bit, but I think his average finish and average start were under a 3. I mean, it was just incredible, and he only ended up with 1 win on the season, and just absolutely annihilated the whole field for that championship. So that's definitely one guy where consistency is definitely in his motto, and he gets it done week after week, and he is making this a battle right now. But this is one of the places that it is a hard place to pass, because when you get on that bottom side, we've seen it a few times already now, you get on that bottom side and coming off the corner without the banking, it causes you to get a little bit loose, and you can get that thing a little tail happy, as we see the 08 of Walker push down to the inside there, but he's not going to be able to get the advantage and hold on to that spot right there. So passing here is very hard to do. You really got to time the pass off of the corner. You definitely got to not going to do it if you get into the corner and try to go inside of somebody. You're definitely got to try to set them up for the exit of the corner. That's where you make the move.
And this track features variable banking at 2 to 7 degrees at a 12% grade, and there's 1 degree of blanket on the front stretch. But again, that's literally nothing in racing terms. It is extremely fat. You see the 08, he tries to cheat down a little bit, right, McBride? They're not running up against that white line on the inside. They're going to be about 1 to 2 truck lengths up, right at that second seam or so on the racetrack. That's where they like to be. The bottom's open, the top's open, but again, you can't pass there. You're going to have to methodically pick through, which I think we talked about stats and Jamie Walker having such a consistent run in the debut of the Truck Series at the end of 2015. Somebody that is a very consistent driver, I think, is a driver that can benefit at these tracks, in which you have to be consistent and you have to be patient, as opposed to some of the other guys that either they go to victory lane or they bring it home on the wrecker. This is a track that'll favor a driver that thinks before he makes those moves.
Yeah, it's one of them places where you almost got to bait the guy in front of you to make a mistake. And, and they do make a mistake. That's when you got to capitalize. You really got to get in there and get that spot, because it's real tough to pass it. That's why a lot of this is one of those tracks on the circuit where track position is everything. I mean, you could not have the fastest vehicle at all on this racetrack, but if you're holding that line, that preferred line, which is, like you said, 2 seams up the racetrack there, it's going to be even tough to pass a car that's, even if you're faster than the guy, it's going to be real tough to make the pass unless you do it perfectly and set them up coming off the corner. So as long as you have a decent truck on center off, this track could be a pretty good racy one for you.
And things staying racy just inside of the top 10. Battle is on for the number 8 spot. Tommy Ryan's going to be able to stay in front for the moment. Contact behind the 24. Ryan Keith's going to get hit in the back end by the 22 of Greg Mall. He will hang on to it. And the 89, a great job by Daniel E. Eberhardt to get out of the throttle, get on the binders, and not get into the back of Keith's. The 24 truck, though, going to lose 2 spots in that exchange after he got hit by Greg Mall. The 22 gains 2 spots and all of that. And just like we saw before, you get a bunch of trucks packed together, a little bit of contact, and immediately they'll disperse. Slow truck down to turn number 1 on the inside of the racetrack. That's Eric Wortley, the 93 Logitech Chevy, first driver to lose the lead lap.
Yeah, he actually came down unscheduled pit stop, so I don't know if he had too much right side damage there. It looks like he's got a nice crinkle on that right front corner of that truck, but came down, decided to come down. He was down, obviously, unscheduled, and made a pit stop, got some service done to that machine. So a 1 lap down for him, but fortunate for him that if we do get a caution, he is in that lucky dog spot.
And your leader is now going to have to start to deal with that lap traffic as this race continues to motor on. Now 15 laps in of 130 on the night. A track that we talk about passing being so difficult at. That means, all things considered, that it's a track where people spread out. It's a track where at these ovals, you're racing the track a lot more than you're racing the fellow competitors. With that being said, though, it is still an extremely difficult track. So although we start to spread out, the risk of a caution flag doesn't diminish all that much, because we've seen a piece of work from a lot of these guys. I can name at least 2-3 drivers, Andy, that have had quite a little bit of scares, but they've held on to it. It's not easy to save a truck in a track like this. The only thing working in their favor is the fact that they're slowing down to about 95 miles an hour in the corner. Other than that, it's almost like they're driving on ice out there, especially when you get sideways. It takes a lot to wheel those trucks back in. These guys have been doing a good job, though, so far of managing through the contact.
Yeah, they are. We got a pretty good battle shaping up just behind this for the 10th spot right now. The 22 of Greg Mall has the spot, but you got Daniel Eberhardt, one of the hottest drivers that we've seen on LSRTV over the past week right now, really trying to work his way through this field right now and having a little trouble, like you said, to make the pass around Greg Mall. Mall's running that preferred line, like we like to call here at New Hampshire, so it's making it real tough for Eberhardt. He does have the faster truck, but this is exactly what I said. You can have the faster truck here, but if that guy's got your line, it's going to make it real tough to pass. And we can see right now Eberhardt struggling to make that pass right now.
And you go to the bottom, it doesn't work, and then you might drop it in a little bit harder the next time. You see, he pushes up, though, and that 22 goes up from 2 lanes from the bottom to 3. That's a mistake. The bottom opens up, and right there to take advantage of that mistake was Daniel E. Eberhardt. That might be a better strategy for these guys. Instead of making the pass and being physical about it, apply the pressure and maybe coax that guy into making a mistake. The 22 bobbled in 1 and 2, gave up the inside lane. Daniel E. Eberhardt made the pass without much problem. So the the 89 going to jump up to 10th. The 22 drops back down to 11th. And just behind those two guys, we see Ryan Keese in the 24, who's been trying to get back up to P6 where he was, but before he nearly got turned into the fence a little bit earlier on. Looked like he's had an opportunity to cool down those Goodyear Wranglers and get his pace back, but still in P12. His next objective would be to get 11th away from that number 22, a ball just in front of him.
Yeah, he will try to do that. Obviously, he had to cool the tires down after that slide he had through turns 1 and 2 there about 10 or so laps ago. So Ryan Keese able to get that thing settled down right now as they make their way around lap traffic. Jeff Ryan now a lap down here in the 19th spot there as these guys make their way around that. Typically, when you see these lap cars come in, they try to stay high, let these guys go around them on the low side, but not in New Hampshire. You want that slow guy to stay on the bottom there, give you that preferred line in that middle part of the racetrack. So as Ryan Keese still trying to put the pressure on the 22 right now, as Greg Mall hanging tough on that 11th spot right now, but Ryan Keese really working him over on the back bumper heading back into 1.
Now, we should note we were at Homestead last night in the Rodcar Truck Show where we were talking about the access road. That's not a factor here tonight. So you saw the 3 of Jeff Ron well down on the inside of the racetrack. Do want to clarify, not necessary to get down pit side, but that truck with some problems, a couple of laps now down, took the safe way, stayed out of the racetrack to get down. But again, that won't be a factor for your leaders that look to get some pit stop service completed on the night. Things have kind of reached a stalemate in the last 10 laps. I talked about Rhett McBride and Jamie Walker battling and pulling away from what was at that time almost 2 seconds. Well, it's kind of siphoned out at about 3 seconds back to about the top 5. But Dan Murray and Cody Gibson, P3 and P4, they're actually making up time on Rhett McBride and Jamie Walker in the 4 and the 08, who are actually continuing to do battle for the race lead. But they're kind of stuck at about 2 truck lengths, I'd say, apart from each other. But Dan Murray and Cody Gibson still a little bit quicker. Not going to be a good lap time, though. That time, Dan Murray tags the fence and give Cody Gibson the number 3 spot. He's moved up there from P5.
Again, that's another case of waiting for that guy in front of you to make a mistake, and Gibson was able to take advantage of that mistake by Dan Murray. So move Cody Gibson up another spot. Look at a couple guys back too. Also, the number 2 at Chase Cabry started 17th. He's up to 7th now. Still about a second and a half away from Aaron Bennett to get to that 6th spot there. Pretty good battle just behind those guys too, with 3 trucks right now going at it. Jody Green in the 99. You got the 6 of Tom Ryan, and you got Daniel Eberhardt right there. Now Ryan Keese has joined into the mix. So right here we got a pretty good battle shaping up with 5 trucks now looking for that 7th spot.
And to the inside, you're going to go to that 89 of Daniel E. Everhart. He'll try to get the number 9 spot from Jody Green, who I think tagged the fence that time down the back straightaway. Shot out a little bit, if not just backed off soon to not get into the back of the 6 of Tommy Ron. Nonetheless, that gives the spot to Daniel E. Everhart. He'll move into a single-digit running position. Now positive 10 after starting in 19th position. And Keith now going to follow through in the bottom of the unacceptable racing Chevy to the outside of Jody Green. Try to get another spot away. I do mention that Daniel Eberhardt's up 10 spots. Another driver that is plus 10 right now is Chase Cabry, the driver of the number 2 Toyota, started 17th, provisional starting spot after not taking a qualifying time. He is now in 7th spot on track, 5.5 seconds off of the race leaders, doing a good job of remaining consistent and picking off spots. He would not object, I'm sure, to a caution flag here at some point, get everybody grouped back up, but he definitely has a lot of good long run speed.
Yeah, he does. This is one of those tracks. Obviously, if you take it easy, you feel like Superman on the first couple laps, and you got fresh tires. But if you take it easy those first 10, 12 laps, it'll really help your tires. And as the run goes on, like we are now, getting towards the end of a run, green flag pit stops should probably be happening in the next 10 to 15 laps or so here. So for a guy like Chase Cabry, a good sim racer that he is, to be able to take care of your stuff in the first part of a run will really definitely start to show in the later part of the run. And you'll see him, he was just a second and a half behind Aaron Bennett about 3 or 4 laps ago, and he's already cut it down to about half a second now. So Chase Cabry definitely taking advantage of the long run here. A good long run truck he's got, and he's going to looking to take that 6th spot away from Aaron Bennett here shortly.
We go on board with the number 2 Toyota closing in on the back of that Exalta Chevrolet in front of him. Aaron Bennett has had a very quiet but consistent night. Started a P7, sitting in 6th right now. However, looking at the intervals on these two guys battling back for the number 6 and 7 spots, not sure how much longer that's going to last, and he'll pull over to the side, stick the hand out the window net, and wave the 2 truck on by. So Chase Cabri now to P6 so far, our biggest mover on the night. We talk about guys going forward, some guys not going the right direction. Remain Ryan Keese and Jody Green. I say that about Keese. He is actually going the right direction back forwards, but he has still lost 4 spots from the start. Jody Green's the Bernardi Honda machine looks just a little bit off. We saw at least the most recent 2 spots that the number 99 lost came in the last 1 or 2 laps. We saw him get stuck on the outside of the racetrack. So Jody Green back to 11th and Ryan Keese in 10th position. Those are the only drivers that started top 10 so far that have fallen outside of the top 10. They've been replaced by Chase Cabri and Daniel Lee Eberhardt, the 2 drivers that have been on the biggest move. We're still even up front. Again, you're not missing anything at the front of the field. It's Rhett McBride, Jamie Walker by 0.2 of a second, and it's still 1.5 back to Cody Gibson in 3rd, Dan Murray and Tim Matthews through 5th.
Yeah, still watching a couple decent battles going on. I think Jamie Walker, honestly, though, up there in the front, he's been on the bumper. He's looked a couple times to try to take that lead, but Rhett McBride's just had good enough truck right now to hold that line, that preferred line there, the second groove up, and it's really working for him right now, and it's making it real tough for Jamie Walker to get around him. So, for that, just ride around, collect some laps here, let him go, and hopefully your crew's a little bit faster on pit road, and you can get your track position off of a good stop also. So that's one way to do it around this place.
And to the inside goes Jamie Walker. They're going to make it a side-by-side fight for the race lead. The 4 pushed up a little bit, so that 08 was not in a terrible position, but it was not good enough for Walker to be able to get back on that accelerator. And with that, the 4 to Rhett McBride defends the race lead off of turn number 4. He continues to stay out in front as he has since the drop of the initial green flag. Through lap 32, slow though at a turn 2. Got a little bit out of shape there, had the back out of the gas. And Walker going to drive it in hard to turn number 3. Side by side for the race lead. Second attempt. Not as well, but he'll stay on the left rear tire. Going to try to keep that inside spot all the way down, though, the front straightaway. Not enough momentum to get there, and he's 0 for 2 right now. McBride's still in front.
That's a good job by McBride, too, just not getting frustrated that he's on the inside and not getting too out of shape or too worried that he's there, and just concentrating on the line he's running. And that line he has, you can see the advantage when they came off of turn 4 that last time. Just the momentum carried him off the corner, and how tight Walker is on the inside when you're trying to pass somebody like that. That just shows how much momentum you lose. And on these long straightaways, that can make up for a lot of time as they go down into the next corner.
And as the track continues to get rubbered in, as obviously the payload begins to fall off, as the fuel almost burned out, these guys running a 60% fuel cell in these trucks, so pit stops not all that far on the horizon. A lot of guys are slowly moving up the track, just a little bit, maybe half a lane or so, but they are moving up the racetrack just that slightest bit. The 4 and the 08 continue to do battle. There's battles really going on all over the track. Good couple of fights inside the top 10, around 7th and 8th right now, but the closest one is at least between your race leaders. Now, problems for the 93, Eric Wortley from 4 laps down in 20th spot. He just about spun the Logitech Chevy around, nicked the fence into the corner, spun to the apron. He was able to hang on to that truck, no caution. And now the next most exciting battle for 4th on track. To the inside, it goes the number 5 machine. That is Dan Murray from 1 lap down, trying to get out of the way. The 54 and the 2 of Tim Matthews and Chase Cabri, who have yet to complete their pit service.
And you can see as Murray just got by these guys rather quickly that you can see the advantage he had with the fresher tires because he came down pit road, how much quicker and how much speed these trucks will lose over the course of a run. So with that little battle, though, that gave Chase Cabri the opportunity to get up to Tim Matthews. So now we'll see if he can work his way and try to get around him for that 4th spot. So a great job, but a battle for the lead shaping up, and it didn't shape up for too long there. into turn number 1, and Jamie Walker able to get around that 4 of Rhett McBride. Now we'll see if he can really pull away now, Evan, and this will show you possibly the difference in speed as far as these trucks and that battle that they had. Brought Cody Gibson in the picture also.
Yeah, that 7 coming up quickly. Jamie Walker got the pass. The 4 kind of backed out of it, tried to make an early apex and try to do the crossover. Didn't have enough speed, though. Went down to the yellow line, and he couldn't keep the foot planted in it, so he had to back out of it. You see the 08, though, down to the bottom, throws a block at lap number 38. Jamie Walker has no intentions of giving up this race lead. But again, yeah, Cody Gibson went from 1.5 seconds back to just a half a second off. In a matter of instant, considering the fact that 08 completed the pass in turn 3 alone, the 7 has been picking up pace, and now we'll see as it looks like Jamie Walker slowly starting to pull away from Rhett McBride. He's not blowing him out of the water. He's not faster than him by a couple of tenths per lap, but again, we talked about how difficult it is to pass. When you're behind somebody that's a little bit slower than you, it is hard to get the pass done, but when you're in front of somebody that you're a little bit quicker than, you can see how quickly that gap grows. It's already at about 5 truck lengths now at lap 30 done, and now Rhett McBride has to be more concerned with the rear view mirror than in front of him. He's got Cody Gibson looking to the outside of the racetrack, and plus that number 5 machine who's already gotten service done. Dan Murray, fresh tires coming up as well from P17.
Yeah, you've been watching the number 7 here over the last few laps. You can see him really getting up into that dark paved area there above the racing groove, and he's searching for grip, and it's really been working for him. Really diamonding the corner almost, going real hot into that on the 3rd line, pushing up into that dark area, then really getting a good bite off the corner. You can see him go way up. That's a little bit further up right there than normal, I believe, but Cody Gibson, he's searching for grip on that track, and so far it's worked for him here in the early going. He's been able to catch these guys, and right now falling a little bit off there because of that mistake. Lost some momentum to head down the front straightaway, so he'll try to settle this thing back down here and go after Rhett McBride as the 5. You can see those fresh tires really making it work for Dan Murray. Trying to get his lap back the hard way now as he gets around the 4 truck of Rhett McBride. Now trying to get around. He'll try to catch Jamie Walker, see if he can get by him, get his lap back.
And that's the short pit strategy on behalf of the number 5 machine. He's already been back out on fresh tires. We've seen how much quicker he is. Once our leaders come down to the pit lane, they're going to lose the race lead. That number 5 is going to go to the top spot because you're looking at about a second and some change of tire fall off from when the run starts to where we're sitting right now. Rhett McBride, the guy that we've been talking about a little bit, the driver of the 4 machine, who has just lost the race lead, and it may be falling to 3rd soon as that 7 Dakota Gibson's right on the bumper. Fastest lap of the race, that lap 2 was a 30.6. Now he's running 32.3. That's almost 2 seconds of fall off, which means that as you see that 7 go to the bottom of the racetrack now, Dan Murray's going to be well out in front of the field. But as the 2 of Chase Cabri gets this cycle of pit stops really kicked off, now that all these guys get back out there, their tires are going to last a lot longer, and then Dan Murray's going to be at the disadvantage at the end of the next long green flag stint. I'm always a fan of the short pit. Murray, though, short pitting by about 15 to 20 laps sooner than if anybody else was taking a look at. Jamie Walker, you see your race leader, now getting passed by that 5 of Murray. Caution flag will fly, though. That'll throw a wrench into the pit strategy and everything, as problems down the back straightaway, I believe, will slow us down for the first time at lap 43. So the caution coming out just as the bulk of your leaders were preparing to head down to the pit lane, so that's really going to throw a curveball into things, because I think the problem for Dan Murray is going to be the fact that he was not back on the lead lap yet, so he'll have to get the wave by, then maybe like to come down and get service, but he's not going to be able to get to the race lead, and he's staying out and being patient on the pit strategy. That's going to be the strategy that ends up paying dividends. You just saw the replay. The problems going to happen with the 6 of Tommy Ron, the Northern Tool and Equipment Chevrolet. I talked about spreading out. Doesn't mean we're any safer. He just lost that truck. He couldn't hang on to it to the inside wall. He went around, and that's what triggers our first yellow.
Yeah, it's typically the cautions you will see here at New Hampshire is guys just flat out losing it themselves right off the corner, and that's exactly what happened. But that's going to trap a couple guys like Chase Cabri. Lap down, he'll be able to get back on the lead lap here, but he's going to end up starting in the back of the pack right now. But the leader's on pit road. No games here on pit road at this track. It's 4 tires every time you come down pit road. Jamie Walker, though, look at him beating everybody back off pit road. Good stop by him and his guys, and we'll get things all straightened out here in a lap or so, and we can reset the field.
We look forward to that. Jamie Walker going to be the first driver back off of the pit lane, so the 08 will retain the top spot with service completed. The driver that I'm curious to see, though, where he ends up is Dan Murray, the number 5 American Racing Toyota. Down the backstretch right now, he'll be back onto the lead lap with your leaders, but he had to stay out to get that wave by. So what that means is that number 5 is going to be back on the mark with everybody else, but he's coming down pit side right now. So basically, that strategy to pit from the top 5 does not work out for him at all. If this caution came maybe half a lap later, Andy, because he was in the middle of overtaking our race leader, he wouldn't have been scored a lap down. He could have taken away by and gone to the race lead. Now, I'm sure he may still wanted to come down, take tires anyways, because the fresh tires would have been right behind him. He wouldn't have had a gap. But nonetheless, the caution really put him in a bad spot, and instead of now being a top 5 car like he was when we took the first American Ethanol green flag on the night, the pit strategy is going to put him back outside of the top 12.
Yeah, the only way that would have worked for Dan Murray right there was if the everybody came down, made their pit stops under the green flag condition. It probably would have put him in the race lead. Then what he would have needed then was a caution, because then that would have been able to put him back on the same cycle with everybody else. But yeah, for Dan Murray, we obviously know he's got a decent truck. He qualified third. He was second in practice, so I'm sure he'll work his way up through the field here, get back up in the top 10 before too long. But it's interesting. We'll see here things shake out here. Yeah, it looks like Rhett McBride was able to hold on to that second spot, Cody Gibson. And look at Daniel Eberhard, all the way from 19th starting spot up to the 4th starting spot here for this restart. And a pretty good job by him. And he's actually, this is one of those tracks that starting on the outside lanes actually the best thing for you. So Eberhard's going to restart on that outside of the number 7 there of Cody Gibson.
Cody Gibson on the inside of row number 2 looks to continue to charge back forwards, but for Daniel Lee Eberhard, who's now 15 to the positive, is like it where he's sitting right now. Jamie Walker's objective as the control truck for the restart is going to be to get clear and then move up by the time they get to turn number 1, so we can get that preferred lane getting back up to speed. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down pit side. It's going to be the first restart on the night as we cycle through turn number 4. The Mountain Dew Chevrolet on the loud pedal. Green flag flies back in the air at lap number 48 of 130. Walker out in front, no problem.
Yeah, no problem from him, controlling the restart. Look at the battle right behind him, though, for that 3rd spot. Eberhard on the outside trying to make it work. Looks like he's going to have the advantage off of turn number 2. Give him that 3rd spot. Cody Gibson now going to fall back into 4th right now. Just behind him, Ryan Keese moving up to the 5th spot. Good job by him coming back up through the field after having the problems early on in this race. And Aaron Bennett holding tough, too, right now as they battle side by side.
22 and Greg Mall going to get the fence that time at turn number 4. His Chevrolet will slow into turns 1 and 2. He lost 2 spots down the front straightaway to the 88, and now the 99 trying to do something with it. Nothing going to come from that, though. Jody Green going to have to duck back in line. That was all the excitement mid-pack with 17 trucks still on the lead lap as we close in now 15 laps shy of the halfway point in the New Hampshire 130. Jamie Walker was able to get the race lead. He sits comfortably out in front of the field at the moment. Brent McBride pole sitter, though, so far to lap number 50. He still led the most laps, but he's got to find a way around Jamie Walker sooner than later, or that 08 machine, I'm sure, would not object to pull it away. And Mountain Dew Chevy has had a small advantage speed-wise all night long, and McBride may have his hands full soon. Daniel E. Eberhard picked up 2 more spots. He's in the number 3 spot at the moment, trying to get to top 2. Again, he started back on the inside of row 10, 19th position. He's a top 3 car, just 51 laps in.
Yeah, very exciting racer he's been over the last, I would honestly say over the last month or so. We've seen a lot of them here on LSRTV and all sorts of vehicles, all sorts of series, and I definitely have to say he's probably one of the hottest drivers we have the courtesy of broadcasting here over the week is in all of the series that we do. So Eberhard doing everything he can right now. It looks like the 7 just behind him, Cody Gibson, might have scraped the wall there off of turn number 4. That's going to slow his momentum down just a bit right now. He's got a little bit of a cushion from Ryan Keese, who's right behind him in that fifth and final, or not final spot, but the fifth spot right there
Final
on the
spot
racetrack.
in the top 5. We'll give you that.
The final top 5 spot.
Keith Butts, number 88, had a little bit of a bobble that time down the back. Turn 2 not being a friendly pace for a lot of these guys. The 33 was in front of him, had a catch of the wall, I think. So Keith Butt went to the bottom, actually to avoid Aaron Bennett. Bennett loses the spot, wants it back, though. That's a spirited fight. Down to turn number 1, 33 on the back bumper of the 88. Believe there may have been a little bit of contact and all of that. Nonetheless, they continue to race hard, just 2 seconds behind your race leader. So they were rubbing on each other down the front. And I also noticed that Eberhardt, you see that 89 still on the back bumper, Rhett McBride, he's actually been getting physical the last couple of laps. The back bumper of that number 4 Toyota now showing some wear and tear from it.
Yeah, it's one of the play. This is almost like Martinsville as far as the long straightaways, the short corner, or not short corners. These corners here, I like to call New Hampshire basically Martinsville on steroids, because the tracks are very similar as far as no banking, and you really got to be patient through the corners and getting back on the throttle. So they're very similar in that aspect. But and we know Eberhardt had a real good race last week, coming home in second at Martinsville. So he knows how to get it done on these flat racetracks. So I'm not surprised to see Eberhardt all the way up to that 3rd spot. But the problem, though, is Rhett McBride really knows which line to be there, and he's got a pretty decent truck on the center off of these corners. So he's making it tough, but Eberhardt peeking the nose to the inside. Not sure if he's going to be able to make it stick on the inside going into turn number 3, but he's there for the spot.
To the inside, the 4 we're going to push up a little bit, but again, the outside just too strong in the middle of the corner. Big runoff, though, for Eberhardt. Nearly contact at a turn number 4. They'll stay dead side by side into turn number 1. Eberhardt needs to move up the racetrack a little bit if he wants to take the preferred lane away from the 4. To the yellow line he goes. You're on board with him, digging, trying to find some speed. Not rolling over, though, as Rhett McBride. He's still topside.
Yeah, Eberhardt's got a real great handling truck right now. I mean, to do what he just did off of turn number 2 and go all the way down to that yellow line, that means that truck is handling perfectly right now. The problem is, though, he's got the speed, and it seems that he's got a faster truck than Rhett McBride, but he just can't get that line and get up there to get the drive off. He might have the advantage now, as it looks like Rhett McBride maybe overdrove it on the entrance of turn number 1. There you go. Eberhardt now up to that 2nd spot. And look at Cody Gibson now. He's going to fight Rhett McBride for the 3rd spot.
That battle quickly turns into a 3-truck fight. And now this is a huge positive for Jamie Walker, because the 08 Chevrolet is now gone. Set and sail 0.8 of a second, and now 9 out in front of new 2nd place runner Daniel E. Eberhardt, who, I mean, not to say that we weren't expecting some speed out of the 89. We know how exciting he is to watch, and you mentioned it a couple of times, but it was a P6 truck in practice. Now, practice, it can be an underlying theme to look at, and it can kind of be undermining as well. You can't really tell how good somebody is on a long run in race trim from qualifying in practice, because it's a single lap speed. He was P6. He'll have a shot at the lead, though. Caution flag is out down the back stretch, I believe, and it will be the 33 of Aaron Bennett who brings out the yellow from the number 7 spot. And did he have some help? Looks like the 22 may get the assist on that one.
Hockey reference right there with the assist for
yes, sir.
The 22 of Greg Mall, with a little bit of assistance on that spot. Obviously, they were trying to get around the 88 of Keith Butt right there, and down to the inside went the 33. Just started to lose it. We've seen that enough, and I wouldn't put anything on Greg Mall there as anything on his fault. Just obviously with the truck spinning like he was, or starting to slide, really no place to go. Just a small little tap. Like you said, we'll give him the assist on that one. That finished him off, basically, as Aaron Bennett. Doesn't look like not too much damage on that race truck, so he should be all right here. Come down pit road, get 4 tires, and reset this thing up and get himself back up into the front.
With that, leader's going to be back down pit side for the 2nd cycle of pit stops tonight. Race leader Jamie Walker going to roll into the number 2 stall, get his service underway. 2 drivers stay out, in Jeff Ron and Jason Swan, but all pit side action. Looks like 4 tires and fuel. The race off in the pit lane. Not that drastic of one. Walker, no problem, getting the 1st spot out. 3 wide for 2nd, though. And that one, I think, is going to go to the 54 of Tim Matthews. Maybe he beats out the 89 and the 4. I'm not sure. He will not get the spot. It'll be Rhett McBride coming out second, Tim Matthews third, and Daniel E. Eberhardt, Andy, goes from second to fourth. But the 54, the one with the strategy call, 2 tires to move up from outside the top 10 to the outside of row, actually the inside he'll be on, of row number 2 for the restart. Staying out and gonna lead a lap, and now coming back down pit side for service this time through with the drivers that stayed out. So it will be Jamie Walker in control of the field when we get set to go back. And this restart gonna be just shy of the halfway point. We're gonna step away, take a quick commercial break, and be back to the Hampshire Motor Speedway in a moment. You're watching LSRTV2's coverage of the United Sim Racing Snowplow Truck Series on iRacing Live.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
We're back live at the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Third time the green nylon get a wave in the New England 130. Green flag back in the air. JB Walker, race leader. 4 tires and fuel out in front is back underway. Look at Daniel E. Eberhardt. Splits the gap to the inside. He'll make it side by side for P2 with Rhett McBride. The driver that I want to look at, though, is the 54 car. Tim Matthews, 2 tires. How will it hold up? Ryan Keese is in the fence.
Yeah, right there, getting tight off the corner, getting the fence. Everyone able to dodge it a little bit. It looks like the 2, it might have, Chase Cabry might have got a little piece of that, though. Everyone able to keep it straight now. They're 3 wide right now, 88 to keep butt. He's right in the middle of it all right now. Down the front straightaway. They settle it out, though, side by side now, heading back into 1.
It'll be 2 wide, 2 and 3 rows deep. Inside the top 10, it all started again. Ryan Keese snagged the fence, slowed down, and found himself in the middle of all of this. To the bottom of him, the 88 of Keith Butt. Butt not going to give up the inside. He'll drive it in and make it a side-by-side continuum for the number 8 spot, and then side-by-side behind for 10 with the 5 truck of Dan Murray on the outside and a 99 of Jody Green on the inside. Dan Murray, again, top 3 truck on the grid. His strategy did not work with the caution flag. He'll be on a mission to get up through the field, and he can't afford to sit around any longer. 3 wide in turn 2, he backs out of it.
Man, that definitely wouldn't have been something to do right there. 3 wide at this track is not something that's going to work, especially off of these corners, how tight these trucks get. Ryan Keese going to push up a little bit right there with the damage he's got on that left rear quarter right now. The 88 of Keith Butt, though, just not able right now to do anything with that bottom side. Still going to give that spot to the 24 of Ryan Keese. He's going to continue to hold on to that 8th spot as Dan Murray's just still trying to get over to 88 as the battle for second starts to heat up now into turn number 3.
A physical one at that. How about a bump and run? Daniel E. Eberhardt gave a shot to the 4 in the middle of 1 and 2. McBride couldn't get back to the gas what he wanted. The 89 got the spot. Now the crossover in turn 4. Rhett McBride not giving up. They'll touch out of turn 4. 2 pieces of contact. 3, 4. They beat and bang all the way down to turn number 1. McBride not giving up the inside. Drives it in hard to the door. They touch again. Eberhardt sideways. He'll bobble out of turn number 2. They continue to go at each other's throats. Here comes Cody Gibson, now a 3-truck fight.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the 4, Rhett McBride, wasn't happy with that bump and run. He was showing it all the way down the front straightaway right there. Problem is that inside lane's not going to work for him. He pinches off the 7 of Cody Gibson into the wall on turn number 4. Rhett McBride going to hang on to that 3rd spot right now. But the big loser in all that was the 7 of Cody Gibson. He's going to lose 2 spots, maybe 3 before it's all said and done.
And just like that, things went from being a race that was at the halfway point to now counting down, and the intensity immediately skyrocketed. Daniel E. Eberhardt getting physical, got the number 2 spot. He ended up being the big winner in all of that. McBride falls to 3rd, though. Here comes Chase Cabri, the Toyota Tundra. Gonna go for that 3rd step on the podium. He'll get the inside spot, should be able to get the spot at a 2. Pushes up, though, the 4 to McBride, not losing much of his mojo. He gets back on it, and they'll stay glued to each other's door down the back of this battle, just like the one we saw with Eberhardt, minus all the contact for the moment. Good, hard, but clean fight for 3rd.
That it is. Rhett McBride holding tough on the outside. Cabri doing everything he can to make that bottom side work. Just quite not going to be able to make it happen. I mean, it's so tough to pass somebody on the inside. And you can see he's using everything he can right now to try to get that position. Not going to happen off turn number 2. Rhett McBride going to hang on to the position, but not by much, as Cabri now has to fall back in line.
Yeah, he backs off, and he'll try to reevaluate, take another shot at it behind him. Tim Matthews wants to join the party as well. The number 54 machine going to get into the mix as well. Temporarily backs out of it, and again, Chase Cabri, who goes to the bottom of the racetrack. So he tries to get the spot again. This time, though, you see, he's able to get that 4 truck all the way up out into the darker pavement, down off of the granite. That gives that to the preferred lane, basically, and it gives much more of an upper hand to Chase Cabri than you would expect, as opposed to if he was actually lower than where you normally see him. But when you get the 4 car that high up, you have a fighting chance at it. That 4 McBride diamonds the corner. A lot of gas coming off. He does have that GTR simulator Toyota, I will say, pretty hooked up coming off the corner. Not bobbling a whole lot. And when you can stay on the gas like he can, it is hard to complete a pass.
Yeah, he's been doing that all night. Like I said, he's had a pretty decent truck from center off, and that's exactly what's holding on to these spots and the battles that he's going on with these guys side by side. So that outside line, just I think that Chase Cabri might have burned off a little bit of those tires there. It's just you burn so much off of him trying to make the pass on the inside. He's continuing, though, to look to the inside now, heading back into turn number 1. He's not going to give up on it, but I have news for him. Unless Rhett McBride makes a mistake, there's no way he's going to get this pass done.
He might have to take the route that Eberhardt did, and that is get a little bit physical for it. The 2 truck, though, no more for letting his speed do the talking. All the way to the yellow line, the slide job in 4. He'll overdrive it a little bit. No, a perfectly executed slide job for Chase Cabri. Comes up in front of the 4 when McBride tried to get back to the gas. That is textbook. Now to P3.
That is very brave right there. Chase Cabri able to get it done. Rhett McBride probably a little steaming under the hood right there right now under his helmet. I see he was sitting in that 2nd spot, and he's lost two great battles between some amazing drivers. Caution back on the speedway, though. Looks like trouble just behind these guys. Looks like maybe the 82 there of Chris Baines having some issues. We'll have to see if we can get a replay up there, but it looks like just trouble off turn 2. It wasn't the 82, so we'll see if we can not pinpoint who this was.
It was in and around where that 82 was. Problems going to happen with the Kodak Film Chevrolet of Robert Gillenwater, who is running in 14th position. And it's a self-spin at a turn number 2. He came back up, and wow, Aaron Bennett almost got collected in that one, and he does a spectacular job of diving to the bottom to not become a statistic. And the 14 machine actually ends up as being the sole truck involved in the yellow. So a single truck accident going to bring us back under a slowed pace at lap 75. Inside now, 55 laps to go. Back down to pit road we go. Now Tim Matthews, Andy, 2 tires went from 15th to about 3rd, I think it was, when we went green. He has only fallen to 6th, so it was not all that bad of a call. Shorter run, do we see some strategy?
I am very surprised he was able to stay where he was. I just think that's because the battles that were behind him were going on so heavily as far as a lot of side-by-side action. That was allowing him to pull away a little bit from those guys. I still think the 2 tires is definitely not the way to go, especially if you're going to want a chance to win this thing. To get track position like he did, yes, it worked. He's going to get 4 tires this time and be able to get back out on the racetrack in a decent position. So it worked for him right there, probably because there was a short run. I think he really would have lost a lot more spots if it stayed green for any longer. So Matthews, it was a good call, or ended up being a good call for him. He'll keep some track position here and put him back up in this fight. But the battle off pit road, I'll tell you, that Ford truck, Rhett McBride, having that first pit stall, that's meant everything here on these pit stops, because again, he comes out in that 2nd spot. So a good job by him and his crew getting in the pit lane, getting the job done, and that'll push Eberhardt back a couple spots. It looks like the 18, he might have stayed out another lap there. We'll let things cycle out again, but Eberhardt was the 3rd one off of pit road, so he's going to have to restart on the inside. We'll see if he can get it done.
Inside of the front row normally means inside battling for what's going to be number 2 spot, because again, the outside is going to be where that 08 wants to get. That 4 may very well end up on the inside by the time we get down to turn number 1. P4 has actually been a very good starting spot tonight. Daniel E. Eberhardt, for the 2nd time in a row, he's going to find himself on the outside of row number 2. That'll give him a shot to fight for 2nd. One of the drivers that's been in this championship conversation all year long, though, has been Dan Murray. Tonight, not his night, but he sits at the top of the championship standings in the USR Snowplow Truck Series championship standings. 2 races of 6 so far are in the books, and he's at the top with a trip to victory lane on the season. Rhett McBride, Steve Ritter, Tim Matthews, Robert Gillenwater, your top 5 in points.
Yeah, for Dan Murray, it's been basically his consistent finishes. 2 starts, 2 top 5s. One of those, obviously, a win in the first race of the season. So he's been able to get the job done here at the racetrack and getting the finishes that he needs in such a short series, only 6 races. You can't have any mistakes. You can't have a 30th place finish or a 25th place finish. You got to be on your game for 6 straight races. And so far he has, and right now he finds himself right there around the top 10, so it's not over yet for Dan Murray. He's got plenty of time to try to get a couple more spots and get back up there, but a really good points battle. 5 points separate him and Rhett McBride, so it's going to be interesting. It's going to come down, obviously, to the last race of the season. Having such a short amount of races, a short season, it keeps the points close all the way to the end.
And tonight, when we finish, marks halfway. We'll have 3 down and 3 to go, all covered up the next 3 Saturday nights on LSRTV. The American Childhood Cancer Organization, Ford Mustang GT, getting down, getting out of the way, and another good jump. Jamie Walker going to take the green flag, jumps up to the high side as we expected, and he'll lead to turn number 1. Good news for McBride is there was no challenge. Top side, it comes from the bottom. Eberhardt, close call, they'll make contact in the 4. Gonna bobble, 3 wide up the middle. Chase Cabry gonna go for the number 2 spot. The 89 ducks in behind the 4. What a move by Cabry the 2nd.
Yeah, that was a power move right there to taking advantage of the contact from the 89 and the 4, and that's going to put the 2 up there into that 2nd spot right now. The 4, obviously, not too happy with the 89 here tonight. A couple shots they've had a lot of contact between each other, battling hard for these top positions. I don't think anything's really been dirty or malicious out of any. I just think it's been some hard racing for those top spots, and how hard it is to pass here, you're going to see that. Tempers will flare and people will get upset at each other because sometimes you have to make some contact to get the pass and make it happen. So as long as they're not taking each other out, I'm all for the beating and banging.
And it's been a physical one for P2 a lot tonight. And the number 2 truck now there, Chase Cabri from 17th to 2nd. He's passed 15 drivers. So has Daniel Everhart, though, that's now back to P4. He got up to the top 5 very quickly. Hasn't been able to make up any additional spots, such as fast. But he is well in the conversation at lap number 81. 45 laps to go. In about a lap or so, we're not that far away from really what's going to be the final stint of this race. Close it in now on the end of this one. These guys kind of accepting the fact that, okay, where you are now, what you're going to have to work with, and it's time to go at it. But once Jamie Walker got to the race lead, he's never been more than 0.3 of a second, I don't think, out of the lead all night. He was all over our pole sitter at McBride, who led through, I'd say, about 4/5 of that opening stint. But once that 08 got by him, got a caution, he's been in front every single restart, and nobody's really even gotten to him to give him a challenge. Although he hasn't been, I'll say, blowing these guys out of the water, sitting half a second right now, that's a pretty comfortable gap for that 08 machine based on what we've seen from him so far tonight.
That is a comfortable gap here at New Hampshire. It doesn't seem like much on the scoring chart, half a second, but how slow they have to run through the corners and how patient you have to be in the corners, that's definitely a comfortable lead right there for the 08. But that's, Mr. Consistency. We saw that last season. Adam had a bad start to the season here this season, so that's obviously putting him back in the points and going to make it tough for him to repeat this season. But obviously running the way he does and having the average finish that he does up in the front constantly, that definitely will give him an opportunity with 3 races to go after tonight.
19 trucks of the 20 that started are still on the lead lap, all with the exception of the 93 of Eric Wortley, who has since brought that machine behind the wall. Other than that, everybody else still out there and on the lead lap, from Jamie Walker all the way through Brian Bible in 19th spot on the racetrack. Good battle just inside of the top 10, shaping out and actually now spreading out as Scott Simley is able to get the upper hand on Tommy Ron. Good battle, though, outside the top 10. Once it involves the 22, Greg Mall outside of the racetrack. Bottom for the 5 in Edinburgh. Behind him, the 88, the 24. It's 5 trucks in 3/10 to turn 3. Make it a 6-truck battle now.
Make it 7 as they start to beating and banging right there. The 82.
4 wide.
4 wide up in the corner,
Oh,
3 wide, not going to work. Here they go, the 33 around. That should bring out the caution. It does. That was just a recipe for disaster right there, and we've seen that coming a mile away, I'm sure. But wow, that was some real close racing right there. But it's 4 wide's not going to work at New Hampshire.
The 82 was a pinball. The 22 overshot 3. 82 got knocked up into him, and then they were 4 wide, and it works in the corner, but eventually you run out of real estate. And really, it was the 88 Keith Butt, who, it's hard to blame him, Andy, because he's in the middle, but he goes down a little bit on Aaron Bennett and actually turns the Exalta machine up. But when you're somebody in the middle of a 4 wide, you're just sawing back and forth on that wheel, hoping you don't hit somebody. Really just ran out of room, and then Bennett got turned up the track. The 22 almost ended up in the air, and at least 4 or 5 different drivers get some sort of piece of that damage. Pretty big wreck in turn 4.
Yeah, that's the big one here in New Hampshire right there. But, you know what it is, and it just takes one vehicle that's just a little bit slower, and then everybody starts to come into the picture and get into the mix. And then one slip up, the 22 overdrove it, like you said, into the corner. That allowed everybody, all their eyes got rather large, and they just saw these openings and started filling them. And then next thing you know, coming off of turn number 4 there, a little bit of contact, and around they went, and big carnage here at New Hampshire.
And that'll bring us back down pit road again, and this time everybody but the 24 of Ryan Keys are heading pit side for service for If We Go Green, what could be the final time on the evening. But we will see at the moment as Jamie Walker comes down to pit side. Right side tires go up, fuel putting in the left side. They will be good on fuel almost at about 10-15 laps if they elect to make that final stop. How about the strategy play, though? First driver out on 4 tires side by side. The 2, though, of Chase Cabri going to win the battle in front of Rhett McBride. He's the first truck out on 4. No, they'll give it to the 4. McBride going to be scored in that top spot off of the pit lane, but on 4 tires. Second out on 4 tires is Cabri. Third out on 4 tires is Jamie Walker, but that's not the overall standings because we had Ryan Keese and Jeff Ryan stay out. They go to 1 and 2. Daniel E. Eberhardt and Tim Matthews take 2 tires. They go to 3 and 4.
Yeah, see, on this one right here, I mean, I'm still a huge fan of 4 tires at this track, but how short that green flag run was, 2 tires is definitely not a bad call here, especially for Eberhardt. He's realized how hard it was to pass here. Once he got up into that, the top 4 area, it was just so hard to pass. You wear your stuff out to get up there and pass these guys that he was never going to have an opportunity to get around Jamie Walker. So the 2-tire stop here for him, not a bad deal. The 54, obviously, Tim Matthews did it once already, does it again now. So maybe a little bit of cushion for Eberhardt as far as guys behind him having the 4 fresh tires. But we got to watch out for the 2 in front of him with no tires. I do believe that you'll see a little bit of a difference here as everybody stacks them up and get ready to go back green flag racing. But a quick note, though, the 08 just had a horrible slow pit stop right there, and you lost a couple positions on the pit road.
And Jamie Walker going to be 7th. He lost really 3 spots to guys with 4 tires, but overall he'll find himself in 7th with the strategy play. Green flag going to go back in the air. Ryan Keese in front. No tires for him. He sails to turn number 1. Jeff Ryan eaten alive. Look at the 3 truck. High side of the racetrack. He loses 15 spots in 5 seconds. He's out of the picture now. Battle for the race lead is on. Here comes Eberhardt up the bottom.
Yeah, and they got a lap traffic. The 88 of Keith Butt there on the bottom. Not going to shouldn't play a factor with him being on the bottom. You can see Eberhardt, though, all over the back bumper of Keith. That's a product of just the 2 fresher tires right now, giving him the slight advantage as they battle the battle for third. Rages on behind them, guys, as they go side by side for the lead in turn number 1. Looks like Eberhardt might have enough. He does. Clears him now off of turn number 2. Move Eberhardt up to that top spot. Now Rhett McBride and the 2 of Chase Cabry, they got a hard time getting around the 54, Tim Matthews.
They're stuck behind him down to turn number 3 in the 2 truck, and a problem because he's on the outside of the racetrack. You can't just force your way to the bottom. When the 4's below you, contact maybe with the 2 and the 4. Cabry going to get that spot in what was an impromptu battle for 4th on track. Now the top 4 single file out. Battle translates for 5th. Jamie Walker outside, inside of Rhett McBride. McBride going to lose that spot again. So the 4 going the wrong direction, almost stuck at a line. The freight train to his outside.
Yeah, the freight train is definitely getting him right now as he's going to fall back in line, it looks like, behind Cody Gibson. So moving back, it looks like about to that 8th spot right now. Ryan Kiesel having trouble with no tires right now. He was actually at a mirror full of Tim Matthews. Now Chase Cabry's into the picture as he gets around Matthews. So move Cabry up to that 3rd spot now. We'll see how quickly they can get around the 24, because this is exactly what Eberhardt needs, is these guys to have some trouble getting around the cars without tires. So Ryan Keese doing a good job with no tires, staying in front of him, but it's just a matter of time. As you can see the 2 get right up on his bumper, possibly give him a shot there. Now look to the inside, trying to get that 2nd spot off of turn number 4. Looks like he's going to clear him. He does off turn 4.
And now to the 2nd spot goes Chase Cabry. Ryan Keese falls to 3rd behind. Here comes Jamie Walker. Contact in 1 and 2. He'll get into the back of the 24. The old keeper pointed forward the right direction, and falling back on the inside is going to be the 54 of Tim Matthews. He'll duck in front of Rhett McBride to P6, but he may lose a couple more spots as he continues to get ganged up on in turn number 3. Now Walker back to the bottom. Things not looking good for Ryan Keese. The strategy call may not play out because the 4-tire hounds are hungry and they're charging up the bottom. There goes the 7, though. Contact. Ryan Keese going to get turned by Cody Gibson. It's a melee in 2.
Yeah, everybody whoa, the 5 getting involved in that too also, but the 7 and the 24 are all turned around. Everybody there, lots of trouble. The 4 also involved Rhett McBride. We'll get a replay of this, but that was huge carnage at the front of the field.
And it all started with that 24 Ryan Keese talking about the strategy call not working out for him. Got nicked by the 7 to Cody Gibson, who drove up the bottom of the racetrack, which Cody Gibson's somebody that I was going to mention when we talked about the points before we went green. He is 12th in the standings. but he's led the most laps out of anybody, more than Dan Murray, more than Rent McBride, who are 1-2 in the points. So I've been looking for him to have a breakthrough race. It's not going to come tonight, though, because that contact got him involved after he got run over from behind. And I think the 6 of Tommy Ron, the only driver to actually be behind that and get through it. That's a 6-truck accident in turns 1 and 2. And I'll call it big one number 2 on the night. The anticipation continues to get ramped up because we'll be with inside of 30 laps to go when we get back green. And, well, they saw that 2 tires and no tires was not a good call. Every single time I'm starting to think now we're going to be heading pit side for service. Eberhardt once again brings us down.
Yeah, the question now is he going to take 4 or 2? And are the guys that took 4 last time going to take 2 like Jamie Walker? We'll have to see. This is definitely where the pitch strategy starts to come into play here at New Hampshire when you have these quick cautions after each other. So we'll see what everybody decides to do as Rhett McBride brings his truck down in also. Looks like 2 tires for the 2 and the 08. So they're going to beat everybody off of pit road. And Eberhardt looks like he took 4 tires. But look who has come out in that 3rd spot off pit road there. The number 5 truck, Dan Murray, a 2-tire stop for him. That's going to get him back up in the picture.
At a gamble, we just saw 2 tires not work, and the 5 machine wants to play that strategy card. So he'll make that move to get out onto the podium running positions. Everybody behind Keith Butt, the number 88 Chevrolet, stays out looking for a wave by. Currently 3 laps down. Pit road now opens, though, for the lap down machines. He'll come down and get serviced this time through. And the scoring going to update throughout the entire field when we cross the start-finish on it. We can tell you, though, that it is going to be a Chase Cabri and Jamie Walker front row. And with the lights still on the pace car, I believe that's going to put us with about 31 to go, I'll say, when the green flag does drop.
Yeah, and that's that's a nice little stint, a little bit under a fuel run. So I'm not sure that we've seen the last time of these guys on pit road here. Obviously, if we get another caution in the next 10 or 15 more or so laps, then you'll see these guys hit pit road again for probably what would be the final time. But obviously, plenty of fuel and plenty of tires to make it from here to the end. We'll just have to see how everything shakes out, if everybody can keep their cooler heads here, or if the intensity is just going to continue to get ramped up.
2 on the bottom, 08 top side, that's going to be the front row. And, you were talking to Randy, and I was going to ask you, are you thinking that we're going to go green to the end? Because based on what I've seen, I want to say we will, but these guys got physical like 25, 30 laps into this race, and they have not settled down much. I don't think we're done junking them yet.
No, and now that you throw in all these different strategies with 2 tires and 4 tires and no tires, it just makes the field all bundled up, and it gets guys, way faster than the guy in front of them, and it just causes the patience part that we talked about at the beginning of the race starts to go out the window when you start getting into the later stages of the race, especially when you got about 30 to go here in New Hampshire, because the laps will start to go by pretty quickly here, especially with the caution laps also. So I like the 5's call, though. He was sitting down just outside the top 10. He is your points leader. So the 2-tire stop after that quick little green flag stint, I think for him that was a pretty good call to get him up here in the top 5, and we'll have to see how it works out for him over the long run if this does stay green, if he's able to hold these guys off and at least get a top 5 finish here tonight.
They're going to scrub off the tires for what could be one of the final restarts on the night. Pace car down and away. 31 laps to go at New Hampshire for Chase Cabri. Green flag back in the air. Top 2 single file, though. Down into turn number 1. Dan Murray's 2 tires, not enough to hold on to 3rd into the corner. He'll drive back up hard on the inside of Eberhardt. The challenge, not enough. Bump the 89 up to 3rd.
Yeah, that's a good move. I really like that outside line on the restarts. It's worked for the 08 and for the 89 of Daniel Eberhardt that time. Obviously, Chase Cabri with the ability to dictate when they start and when they go at the green flag. That gives him the advantage on the inside. He's pulled out now to about a 3 or 4 truck length lead. Right now, that's over Daniel Eberhardt, who's making his way around the 08 of Jamie Walker. He clears him entering turn number 1. Walker, though, going to look to the inside, try and crossover move off turn number 2. Not going to happen, though. Eberhardt clears him off of turn number 2. We'll see if he can hang on to it in turn 3.
You're exactly right, and it hasn't been easy to pass Jamie Walker either tonight. In fact, we were talking about that it looked almost impossible to get around his Mountain Dew Chevy when he was in front. Now, how much the clean air versus running behind the two has made a difference, how many adjustments have been made on these trucks, and the strategy and the difference of circumstances as well played into it. But, I mean, Eberhardt made pretty quick work of him to get the second. He now faces a 2/10 of a second climb to get to Chase Cabri right there. But the 89 to 08, throw the 5 of Dan Murray into the mix as well. Top 4 drivers in half a second off of 4.
Yeah, I like Eberhardt's opportunity here. The two guys that he's sandwiched in between right now are on 2 tires. So you can see entering the corner there, Eberhardt definitely has more speed, a little bit more grip through the center of the corner as Walker is still looking to the inside but struggles off turn 2. He's going to lose some time right now, put him back in the clutches of Dan Murray. But you can see entering the corner right there, the gap really closes with Eberhardt. He's able to drive it in a lot deeper because he's got those fresher tires, and it allows it to stick. And coming off the corner here, he closes the gap down to 1 truck length.
1 trunk length it is at lap 104, and Cabri struck out in front again. We talked about these guys getting physical. You see the back of the 2. He's got some damage. The front of Eberhardt is damaged, and so is his back. So it's been a little bit of pinball all night long. These guys have not been afraid at all to show that chrome horn. And the way that this race has been in the last 30 laps or so, continuing grouping these guys back up, I'm sure that we have not seen the end of that. But for Cabri, he obviously wants to stay in front to go to the win. But if you're Daniel Eberhardt, you know that you can work right now about 1 or 2 truck lengths off Andy. He can get to him. It might take him, though, 5 or so laps to actually get in a spot to make a move. If we get another caution flag, you can look at that in 2 ways. 1, it gives him another shot to get at him, but 2, he lost all that time that he made up off of the restart. So while you have to pace yourself, we talked about that earlier, this time by going to be 25 laps to go. You don't want to stay in second till the next yellow. You'd rather be in the control truck position if we see another one. So that 89, well, he knows he can't force the issue. It is at 25 laps to go. You can't play it safe anymore.
No, he can't. He's really got to go right now. And if you're looking for a guy to make a mistake, Chase Cabry's not that guy that's typically going to make a mistake. So Eberhardt's really got to earn his lunch money here if he's going to want to get around Chase Cabry. He's really going to have to push it and try to do something that probably we haven't seen here tonight, and that's pass a really fast race truck like Cabry. And, it might be another instance of him getting in the back end, a little push there, trying to assist his help to get around him. But looks like Eberhardt right now overdriving it just a bit, and that's allowed the 08 of Jamie Walker to get back into it. Oh, and Eberhardt gets in the wall off turn number 2. That's definitely not going to help his cause.
These trucks are very momentum-based. So is this track. That does not help him at all. In fact, when we were talking about, just how much the gap he was closing, Andy, when 5 laps ago, when he brought it down to about a truck length, he got real close to the fence, and I was thinking that he's really pushing that truck out wide. And finally, turn 2, more so than turn 4 tonight, has been a place that we've seen is tap the fence. Not a whole lot of damage. The good news for him was he didn't get the front end, I don't think, into the wall all that much either, because when you get the back end into the fence, you slap it and it brings that front end around, and you get stuck in the wall, in which you lose a lot of time. It was more of just the graze of the fence. He did lose 3/10 of a second, though, because now it's half a second between him and Chase Cabry. Jamie Walker tried to pounce on it, not enough speed to do it right away. So the 08 still third, 4th Dan Murray, and Tim Matthews sits in the number 5 spot to round out your top 5 drivers right now. Do want to note, we talked about how well everybody was doing with 17 trucks of the 20 that started, 17 still on the lead lap. We had 19 prior to the last 2 yellows. Chris Baines is now behind the wall. His night is done. And Keith Budd is working a couple of laps down with damage in 18th position. But Cabry out in front, 17th on the grid to first, and second place runner Daniel Eberhardt from 19th at the start to second. The top 2 drivers have had a long journey to get here. They both want the trophy. They're 20 laps away.
Yeah, 20 laps away, and the time's starting to tick away for Eberhardt. He has closed the gap back down to about 3/10 of a second, so he is coming. I think he just needs to, this is part of a young driver where you learn a lot when you're watching a guy like Chase Cabry, and you want to go, you want to get up there, you want to make the pass, and in doing so, we saw that a few laps ago. You end up driving it in too hard. You start forcing the truck to do things it can't do or it won't do, and you end up losing a lot of time. So I think Eberhardt has realized that at this point. Someone in his ear obviously has been telling him that, because he's really starting to close the gap now as he's really started to settle back into his groove, into his rhythm. This is another one of those rhythm type racetracks. So he's starting to settle back down, and now he's really closing the gap off turn 4. It's only about a truck length, maybe a truck length and a half.
He's there, but he's not gaining any. He's not losing any either. He is constantly there. What he might be hoping on now is for maybe the 2 of Chase Cabri to make a mistake. He wants to sit there, continue to apply the pressure, get that 2, try to overdrive a corner a little bit. But that 89 wiggles that time, but a 2 the back end, not staying underneath him. You can tell that he's pushing it. He's getting that right pedal down all the way just a little bit sooner now every single lap that goes by. And when you're starting to give it more throttle, when you're starting to lose the tires, although he does have the minor tire advantage in his favor, starting to get that truck out of shape for sure. And you can't forget, as these two, that if you battle for the race lead, Walker, Murray, Matthews now become factors. So while you want to battle for the win, don't get too busy looking at the 2 if you're Daniel Eberhardt to forget about Walker, because if that 08 sees you not paying attention behind him, he might jump all over you.
Yeah, he might. Eberhardt, pretty decent run right there off of the corner. It's about half a truck length now. He's there. Now the question is, when can he make the pass? And if he can make the pass now, is it across the start-finish line that time, Evan? We got about 17 laps to go here in this one, so the laps are definitely starting to tick. But Eberhardt now starting to really close in now. Gets a real good run off turn number 2 there. He's on the back bumper now. Now the question is, when or if Chase Cabri makes a mistake, and can Eberhardt take the advantage of that mistake? But he's also, like you said, got to watch that rear view mirror. Oh, as he wiggles off turn number 4 there, I don't think he touched anything, but it was awfully close. You got Jamie Walker right there too.
I'm tempted to also ask if or when the 89 finally plows down the wall, or if or when he finally gives him the bumper, because those are 2 things that I can see happening as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, listen, you're driving that hard, and this is a real sensitive track off the corner like that, and when you're trying to get everything you can out of it, those types of mistakes will happen, and typically you'll see them out of the guy that's doing the chasing. So he's got to settle into it. He did a good job closing the gap back down, but he can't forget how he got back up there, and he's still got to race those same type of laps, and to give himself the opportunity there. That was a great corner right there off turn 2. Closed the gap right back down again. So Eberhardt's definitely got the speed in the truck. He's got the wherewithal. He's just got to put it all together right now. But it's a three truck battle here off turn 4.
And it's with 15 and now 14 laps to go at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Chase Cabri trying to get back into USR victory lane, out in front of the field right now. But if he can do so, he'll go back to back. We talked about some similarities from where we were in round 2 to tonight post-race at Martinsville, where Chase Cabri went to victory lane. And we talked about how it's a very flat track, and he said that he was looking forward to it. Well, it is definitely shown, because he's in front, but he does not have it locked up yet. Daniel Eberhardt, Jamie Walker have something else to say about it. And number 2 and number 3rd place trucks are still in it. 4th on back, really now no longer factors. They're 1.9 seconds plus out of it. Battle for the race lead is what we're looking at. Eberhardt to the bottom. Not enough that time. He's on the Declan. Does he do something?
Now's his opportunity maybe to pass on. It looks like Cabri got loose a little bit.
It was a small shot. It was a warning.
Yeah, it looks like he got a little loose off the corner there. So that's going to that made a little effect for Eberhardt to get up there and battle for this. But I looked at the way they're running right now. Last week at Martinsville, pretty similar track, and I say that just because of the low banking, the long straightaways, a rhythm track, that type of thing. But look who finished and how they finished last week. 1, 2, and 3 last week was Cabri, Eberhardt, and Walker. That's exactly how they run right now currently.
Ben
here
Murray
coming.
Came home 4th at Martinsville. He's 4th right now too. So when you're good at a flat track, you're good at a flat track.
Absolutely, it pays off, I guess.
And Eberhardt and Walker don't want it to finish in the same order, but soon you're going to have to start to get a little bit greedy with this. I said he gave him a warning shot. You don't dump the guy the first time you get to him. You let him know you're there. You tap on the bumper. The 2 is well aware that Eberhard has been on his bumper the whole night. We talked about when it was Rhett McBride in front and it was Jamie Walker in second, how if you're a little bit quicker than somebody, it's not that easy to make the pass. So for all we know, Eberhard could be extremely frustrated that he's a little bit quicker, but he can't find a way by. He gave him a small tap. A couple laps to go, that's it, he caught the fence. Eberhard gonna get into the outside wall. He'll collect Jamie Walker as the 08 behind. Gonna get into the back of the 89 who lost a whole lot of speed. That's a good way to throw it away.
Yeah, that is, but that shows you how hard he's driving, trying to get up there and take this away from him. 10 laps to go now, coming to 9 this time by, so Cabri definitely got a pretty sizable lead now. I wouldn't say comfortable because Walker's been just as fast as Eberhard, so there's definitely an opportunity for him to maybe catch him. I think Eberhard, though, he might have knocked the toe out with that whack there on the wall, so he's going to have to fend off the 5 truck if he wants to stay in the top 3 here tonight. But Chase Cabri now just under a second, 8/10 right now of a lead. That's a pretty sizable, comfortable lead, though, as we see Cabri wiggle it there off of turn number 2. So he's got to be careful, too, not to throw this thing away.
He's going to be 3 laps away from where a caution flag would end this race. 8 laps to go for Chase Cabri out in front. Jamie Walker took over the second spot again after Eberhard caught the fence. The 08 machine would actually have been in a side-by-side fight for second to turn number 1. Eberhard more or less let him go, and now the 08 machine, if he's got anything, he's got to stretch his legs and get there to him. So while Chase could be a little bit more conservative having that gap, he can't be too conservative because that 08 machine is driving it in just so hard into the corner, giving it everything he's got, trying to get to him.
Yeah, he's trying to do everything he can to close this gap to possibly take an advantage of a mistake, but the problem for him is he's running out of laps right now. He did knock off 3/10 though that lap, so Walker, he is throwing it in there, but it is making up some time for him.
Yeah, went from 8/10 down to 5. If he can keep that pace up, he should be able to get to him. Caution flag is out, though. Are you kidding me? Coming to 6 laps to go. Yellow flag is out. Jason Swan is turned around backwards into the outside wall in turns 1 and 2. And he was turned in by the 22 of Greg Mall. Not the first time that number 22 Chevy has gotten into somebody tonight. This time it sends the 18 in. Swan goes around. Caution flag is out. And I said that he was 3 laps away from winning this if a yellow comes out. I believe we're still going to have another restart.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick little, maybe 1 lap go at it. So I don't think you're going to see anyone come down pit road, but I have seen things stranger in the past happen, so we'll have to see if there's any takers, maybe from 6th on back or so, that might have to, they get fresh tires. I'll tell you what, you can make up a lot of spots in one lap at New Hampshire if you got fresh tires. So we'll see what these guys do coming down pit road.
Oh, the fake.
They're all going to stay out.
Everybody coming out, yeah. And if Chase Cabri goes in, I feel like the guys behind him jump out too. And if, the 2 car, he's kind of in a bad spot because if he stays out, Jamie Walker could have stayed, headed pit side, and if he did that, everybody else probably would have pitted with him. But for Chase Cabri, everybody else doing what he did, or in this case, what he didn't do, is good news because I think the people that are taking tires, if anybody, I'm seeing a couple of guys outside of the top 10. So you could make up a lot of spots. I don't think you're going to go from 12th to 1st in 1 lap. Who knows, unless there's big junk up front. But I think that's the best scenario for Chase Cabri on the tires that they had because, again, it takes a couple of laps for somebody to build up the speed to be able to get to you. We talked about when it was Eberhard in second, Andy, that you really want to get to the lead sooner than later because if we're in a case like this with the yellow flag, you don't want to have those 3 to 4 laps to get back right on him and set him up for a pass. Cabri needs to get a whale of a restart, and if he can do that, he might almost be home free. We'll have to see because everybody's going to be going at each other on this restart. I'm not sure we make it to the white flag.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be his race is going to be dictated by the jump he gets, and we saw in that last one he really stacked the field up before he went going. So, you got to change it up every now and then too. You can't just go as soon as the pace car's off. You got to throw a wrench in there because you might catch these guys sleeping. So For Cabri, it's all about the restart. If he can fake these guys out a little bit and get a better jump than the 08 and Eberhardt, then I think he'll be able to hold them off for a couple laps. But if he's unable to get a good jump, then it's really going to force the hand and really give an opportunity for the 08 or the 89, or even Dan Murray sitting there in fourth there to get an opportunity to come back here and maybe steal a win from him.
It looks like it might be a green-white checker to determine the end in this one. We saw a green-white checker on Thursday night. Andy wanted us to see one last night. Looks like we're going to get one here tonight. Not an official green-white checker per se. No overtime, which means that if we do get a caution before we get to the white flag, this race would end at a slow pace. If we do get to that white flag, it is no holds bar, and the lights on the pace car go off. It'll be 2 laps to go. And that 89 of Daniel E. Eberhardt just let the 2 of Chase Cabri know that he's coming. Warning shots are coming out before the green.
Yeah, maybe get him off his game. Maybe you have him driving into the turn number 1 too much and get up into the 08 and give Eberhardt the opportunity to really take advantage of a mistake. So I've seen that happen in the past too, really, guys getting a real good push down the front straightaway and actually pushing the guy deeper into the corner than he wants to, which ends up getting him out of the line, and so I've seen that in the past too. So we'll have to just see. It's all up to Cabri. I'm sure the veteran that he is, he's going to get a pretty good jump here, and he'll be able to get by both of these guys heading into turn number 1. So we'll have to see. They're stacking them up 2 by 2. Let's get it done.
Pace car going to get down and out of the way. It is Chase Cabri in front, and Jamie Walker shotgun in second. Down and away. Green flag at a turn number 4. 2 laps to go in New Hampshire. The battle's more so for second, all behind Chase Cabri. He's got a 2-truck length advantage in 1 and 2.
He does. Eberhardt now to the bottom, and this is where he's gonna push up the racetrack with the worn tires right now. That's gonna give the 08 the advantage off the corner. Here comes the 5 now, Dan Murray. He's gonna try to take that 3rd spot away from Eberhardt. Eberhardt going to fight back on the inside. Look out, though, because Tommy Ryan's right behind him as they all stack up in the corner, right there in the middle of the corner. Eberhardt, he's going to hang on to that position for the time being. They battle side by side for that 3rd spot. White flag in the air for Cabri.
It'll be an official finish down to turn number 1. Jamie Walker behind, spin in. Daniel E. Eberhardt will hang on. They'll scatter behind for 5th down the back straightaway, but for the final time, with a 4/10 of a second of an advantage from the back to the front, and he made it look easy on the final green-white checker. Turn 4, final time. Chase Cabri off the corner. He'll go to victory lane. Back-to-back wins in the USR Snowplow Trucks winner at New Hampshire.
Great drive right there for Chase Cabri, coming all the way from the back. Getting the win here tonight. Had the track position when it mattered at the end of the race. So a great job by him. A good restart. That's what gave it to him also, as he do some crazy donuts there on the back straightaway with all the traffic coming around him.
I know he did the burnout drift styled celebration at Martinsville, and he's getting his money's worth here tonight because, again, I said he needed to get that jump on the restart. And basically, Andy, 5 seconds after we took the green flag, I knew that Chase Cabri was going to win this race because with those guys being side by side in second, there was just no way that they would sort that out in enough time to be able to get to that 2-truck, seeing how fast he had been.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like I said, that restart.
There's the drift.
Yeah, that restart was going to dictate. He has a lot of fun when he celebrates, I'll tell you that.
No post-race tech.
No. Well, maybe that's what he's doing. maybe he was told to back it in the wall, I don't know.
Well, he'll bring it to a stop there, and he'll maybe push that number 2 Toyota into the virtual Gatorade victory lane. Nonetheless, though, back-to-back checkered flags. Chase Cabri for the 2nd week in a row, your winner in the United Sim Racing Snowplow Truck Series. He'll walk away the big winner in the New England 130. We'll talk to him, some of your other top finishers in a moment as we step away in the post-race show wrap-up on LSRTV 2. Going to be back in a moment. Stay tuned on iRacing Live.
Our research shows drivers won a league with no
cheating,
kids wrecking me,
admin favoritism, multiple fast repairs,
intentional wrecks.
Drivers we interviewed also won a league with
clean competitive racing, clear-cut rules,
enjoys having all the drivers,
a full field of drivers,
end-of-year cash purse,
follows the rules on a constant basis.
At Domino's TYJ Racing, we listened to the drivers and created a league with high integrity and professionalism just like Domino's Pizza has maintained for the last 55 years. Claim your share of the over $3,000 purse by applying today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com for one of the few remaining Cup car rides or your seat in our action-packed truck series.
Yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shake and bake. Sleeping on it, should've stayed awake, huh?
We're back live at the virtual New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the post-race show on LSRTV2. Happy to still have you along with the ride. Evan Posoko, Andy Kessler with you, and Cisco Scaramuza. Post-race from the New England 130, where Chase Cabri goes back-to-back and picks up his second checkered flag in 3 races on the USR Snowplow Truck Series Championship. But again, we talked with him at Martinsville. Second win in 3 races, but for him, 2 for 2 after missing the season opener. We'll talk championship implications, and to get all of that kicked off, we'll send things down trackside with Andy Kessler. Andy, Dan Murray, championship leader into tonight. 3rd race, 3rd top 5. He's on the podium.
That's right. I am down here on pit road with the championship leader and still the championship leader, Dan Murray, driver of the number 5. And Dan, didn't look so good about halfway through there. You lost some track position trying a different pit strategy, a short pit there. Got yourself back in about 15th position. Took you a little while, but a couple little 2-tire stops there late in the race there got you back up into the mix and ultimately got you up here in 3rd place.
Yeah, I always seem to screw myself up on strategy. Just depends on where at in the race, if I can recover from it or not. But it wasn't looking too good. I wasn't too happy, and then decided to go 2 tires there, and it really wasn't so bad. And we could race with those guys. So I would have just liked to, well, I liked I had 4 there, but we'll take what we got there. 3rd isn't bad. The way we've been running here lately, we've been getting better. So just trying to knock the rust off before the real stuff starts.
Absolutely, and you're doing a great job with it. We just talked about it a moment ago. 3 starts now, 3 top 5s for you, including a win in the season opener. So obviously, we're halfway through the season now. It's a quick season. The points are always going to be close. But getting yourself up here and making up a couple points on Rhett McBride, who didn't have exactly what he wanted with a good finish. This has got to put a little bit of breathing room in between you and the 2nd place right now. Obviously, 3 races to go. The momentum that you carry with 3 straight top 5s just has to continue. Bad races aren't going to lead to a championship in only a 6-race season.
No, and I've kind of gotten myself to where I try not to think about the points or look at the points until probably a couple weeks to go. Just due to the fact that I want to win every race, I concentrate on winning that race. And Chase was really good tonight, and Jamie was really fast as well. And I just really felt like we had the truck to beat in practice, but it didn't fall our way. But we're getting there.
Yeah, you're doing just that, and the consistency. We saw it get it done last season for Jamie Walker, and so far, 3 races into it, the consistency has been getting it done for you. Dan, sponsors, shout-outs, who helps you get it done week in and week out?
Just everybody at Still Horse Racing. We've continued to add to our group over the last month or so. So we got some new guys that we're really happy to have aboard, and they've been working out great so far. So just everybody's still doing a great job within the team, and looking forward in the season.
There you have it. Third place finisher here tonight. Still your championship point leader. That's the number 5, Dan Murray. And I'm going to walk a little bit further down pit road here and catch up with the 08 of Jamie Walker. If I can get in here. There he is, Jamie Walker. This is Andy. How you doing? You end up coming home with a second place finish. Obviously, whoop, I think we lost him there for a second, but there he is. Jamie, you come home with a second place finish. Obviously, led a ton of laps there in the middle portion of the race, but then it looked like not a bad pit stop on pit road, but a couple guys taking 2 tires, getting out in front, and then obviously you were in that dirty air, and obviously the truck here at New Hampshire, once you get into a little bit of traffic, it definitely doesn't drive the same when you're in clean air.
Yeah, it's all about track position here. I could defend off anybody, but like I said, you seen me when I was out front, I could pull away from everybody. But once you're in that bad, dirty air, it's hard to do anything. It's hard to pass here.
Yeah, it's a real tough place to pass. There's really only that one racing groove. It's really like the third lane up in the racetrack, and you try to make the pass on the bottom, you end up getting too tight. You end up pushing up into that guy on the outside, so it makes it real tough to complete the pass. So a place like this, it's really either you got to give the guy a shot in the bumper and push him up out of your way, or you just got to hope that he makes a mistake and apply a lot of pressure, get on his back bumper, and that's pretty much the only way to get a pass on here at New Hampshire, which makes it tough. So obviously pit stops come into play here too, and like you said, the track position, but. Overall, obviously a bad start to the season in the first week, but you end up being able to back it up with a couple top threes here last week at Martinsville with third place, and then this week with the second place finish. All you need now is next week a big win for you.
What's that? Talladega? Easier said than done, all right?
Yeah, we all know that. There's going to be 20 or 30 trucks there coming in next week, obviously looking to get the win, and we talked about last season, towards the end of the season, we had a big race at Daytona, I believe it was. And you talk about you had a pretty comfortable points lead, but so much can happen at those tracks that could, definitely play not into your favor as far as somebody else's wreck and you get caught up into it. There's just nowhere to go. So those tracks, obviously, you just got to basically put yourself in position, hope everything works out for you. And you got to be there at the end to make it. So it's one of those racetracks that you're really putting a lot of fate into somebody else's hands.
Oh yeah, it's all about being in the right spot at the right time. As you guys seen last season, it was a 5 wide for the lead there towards the finish, and I still come home in 6th place, but I was happy with that.
Oh yeah, you're talking about a survival. Yeah, that was one of the best races ever I've seen and broadcasted on the air. So that was a great one, and looking forward to that next week. But obviously, sponsor shout outs. A second place finish here tonight, but it always takes a bunch of people to get it done.
I got to thank the Mountain Dew team. They've been coming out and helping me out a lot. And of course, my family putting up with me being on this thing and practicing a lot. So, and then you guys and Cody for putting this stuff on. I know Cody had some bad weather here a few weeks ago. Just giving him my best wishes. Hope everything is all right down there.
We appreciate everything, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week at Talladega. Congratulations again, second place finish.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to next weekend.
There you have it. Second place finisher here tonight. Last season's champion, Jamie Walker, and we'll see if we can not throw the mic down to Evan Pasoko. I think he's caught up with our big winner here back-to-back for the number 2.
We talked with him at Martinsville about missing the first race and just trying to get here and collect wins. And he said, well, I still want to win the championship. And the best way you can do that is to finish P1 every single time. And for the second week in a row, that's exactly what he did. From 17th on the grid to the top spot, and held on after a green-white checker. Chase Cabri, again, the winner in the United Sim Racing Snowplow Truck Series. Chase, congratulations. Back to the front. You didn't make it easy on yourself, but you do go back-to-back tonight's second win.
Oh yeah, it was probably the toughest race I've had in with these guys. It was definitely wasn't easy. I'm a big Supercross fan, and I didn't even qualify. I was sitting here watching Supercross go, and sitting here watching Supercross, and then realized I didn't even qualify. And then I drove up to fourth on that first run, went for an early pit about 5 laps early, and the caution came out, went a lap down, came out. It was just a battle all night, but all in all, it turned out to come out to a win, I should say, and I had a good time here tonight.
I will say that I about started talking about Supercross a couple of times in the race because I have been watching all night long as well. But for you, you get the job done. I mean, 17th the first. New Hampshire's a very difficult track, though. But again, you got the job done at Martinsville. And we talked about this race at that one, what was now nearly 3 weeks ago with all the off weeks and whatnot. But a flat track, little to no banking at 2 to 7 degrees of variable banking. What is it about these tracks that with the lack of lateral grip, you have to be so, precise, and you have to finesse the throttle, I guess is the right way to describe it. What is it about these kind of tracks that you like that allows you to be so successful at them? And again, even with everything that was thrown at you tonight, to still find a way to win it?
Well, Martinsville, I just always love. I have a passion for that track. You get down the corner and braking and all that good stuff. I love that track. This track, on the other hand, I am not a fan of. I don't like this track. It's tough to run. It's, you run the middle. It's so hard to pass. I pulled it back to my dirt days about 2 years ago when I was running dirt and decided I was going to throw a few slide jobs tonight, and it was tough. This track is just so hard to pass, and coming from the back like 2 times in a row, like Jamie said, it's all about track position here, and I knew if I could take 2 tires there at the end and get out to the lead, I was gonna be able to hold on. Definitely wasn't the fastest driver here tonight. There was definitely some guys way faster than me, Jamie being one of them. But just being able to play strategy out the right way, I was able to come home a winner.
You get that W, and then we asked you again what we did at Martinsville. It was funny, actually, because when we talked to you there, you said that you weren't all that sure about this race, and some of the other guys that you finished up there inside of the top 5 with said they were quite looking forward to it. Although it didn't end up this way after everything kind of got crazy in the final 20 laps, I think at 25 to go, it was you, Eberhardt, Walker, and Murray, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's the exact way you guys finished at Martinsville. But now we look forward, 3 races into the books, 3 races still to go. We were talking with Dan a little bit earlier on tonight after the race, who came home in 3rd, who gets another strong finish, another top 5, and that means that he continues to do very well in the championship. And we mentioned that, you missing one of the races, what you need to do to try to get the title is to win every single race. With how good Dan's been, though, it's almost not going to be enough. What's the outlook still with 3 races to go? Not going to give up, I would assume.
Well, I was a bit optimistic after the race at Martinsville. I was like, I'll only miss one. But then watching tonight and seeing how tonight went again, and even though I was able to come home, with 3rd place was Dan Murray, who's leading points. It's going to be virtually impossible to get back to him. If anything does happen, it'd be a miracle. But I'm just going to go into the every race with the same aspect. Just going to try to get the win and do everything I can to get up there.
Well, you had to overcome a couple of things tonight, but you're able to get the job done. Back-to-back trips to victory lane. It's your 2nd win in the USR Snowplow Truck Series campaign, and the off weeks didn't cool you down at all, so you're able to do it. And another fast truck and another good trophy to walk away with tonight. Chase, sponsors, the shout-outs as always. The people behind the scenes, who do you want to give a shout-out to while we got you?
Well, my teammate, Daniel Eberhardt, we both started in the back, came to the front. But another thing is that I have applied for the Champion Spark Plug sponsorship for my real-life late model racing. So if you check the side here and on the YouTube broadcast, I'm going to be posting a link. Make sure you go there, vote for me. You can vote once a day, every day. We're hoping to get that sponsorship so we can get my late model rolling a little bit better than we got it going right now. So, but other than that, I've had a great time. Thanks to you guys. You guys have done such a great job, Evan and Cisco. And Andy, and Laura's not here tonight, but she does an incredible job. So thank you to everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Guys, put on another good show tonight that made our job easy, Chase. Thanks for sticking around. Best of luck again, rolling forward with 3 races left. Best of luck as well for the rest of 2016. If things keep going this way, maybe we'll talk to you next Saturday night. We'll see you then.
See you then.
So Chase Cabrey gets the W. Andy again getting the job done. we reference back to, again, this is the inaugural winter installment of the USR trucks, but just before we got this underway at the beginning of December, they wrapped up their inaugural Truck Series campaign. So this is still a new series. Field sizes aren't huge, but the racing continues to impress us, and we always mention how good Jamie Walker has been on consistency. Well, Dan Murray's given us the Jamie Walker numbers this year. He had an average finish of a 2.5 into tonight. With this third place finish, he stays at the top. That means his finishes are a 1, a 4, and a 3. So that's what we're seeing out of the 5 of Dan Murray, but nobody wins as much as the 2 truck does.
Nah, he's just, listen, like you say, or like he said also, I mean, he runs late models in real life too. So, I mean, short tracks are what it's at for Chase Cabri. He knows how to get it done. We've seen him in a bunch of races at Five Flag Speedway also. He's always quick there. So it's in his nature, you know, short track racing, getting on the brakes and really having to have control and rhythm and knowing when to get on the throttle, when not to. He realized he didn't have the fastest truck out there, but he knew getting in the lead and how hard it was to pass, he'd be able to fend these guys off, and he did just that and come home with the win back-to-back for him. So obviously next week at Talladega is going to be a whole different story, and we'll have to see how things shake up there because when, you know, he talks about wanting to win the championship even though he missed a race. Well, you know, next week may be his opportunity to close the gap in the points. So just have to see what happens and look forward to next Saturday night and get into the second half of this series.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that things really take a twist when we go to Talladega next Saturday night for the Alabama 220. We got Five Flag Speedway the week following and Michigan International Speedway to make up the next 3 races on Saturday nights. It has been very fun to watch, Andy, and I'm going to have to tune in once these races come to a close because I'm not going to be able to catch these final 3 races, but I know that it's going to be extremely exciting. I've had a lot of fun calling these races, and I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of fun rolling forward. All of those races still to come on LSRTV on the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th of January as we get set to crown an inaugural USR Snowplow Truck Series champion. We look forward to Talladega, though, and that one I'm looking forward to checking out. The Alabama 220 is next Saturday night, but that does it for round number 3. And I think with this week now drawing to a close, Andy, I'm pretty sure all our leagues are back up. No more vacation time.
Nope, no more vacation time. I looked at the schedule, and we're rolling tough 6 days a week. So tune in just about every night except for Sunday night, which we all need a break every now and then.
And we won't have Sundays off for long either. So
No, the Sunday night action is going to be coming up just as we get into February. So another couple weeks of 6 days a week going on here, and then we'll get into our February action, which will be nice because a lot of big series getting ready to get going again. RSR with their Full Throttle Cup and so on, ASCORs and stuff. So lots of racing. It continues to happen week after week and day after day here. So always tune in right here on LSRTV.
And you can find that entire broadcast lineup as well as more information on our website at www.livesimracing.com. As well, I encourage you to like us on Facebook to stay up to date with all the latest information. That'll be at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. Until next Saturday night, though, the first week of the 2016 racing calendar now draws to a close. And that's it for us here tonight. So on behalf of everybody at LSRTV, especially on the team tonight, for myself, Evan Pasoko, on behalf of Andy Kessler, and as well, Cisco Scaramuza, thanks for tuning in. Congratulations to Chase Cabri, tonight's big winner at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. We will see you next Saturday night for more USR track action. But before then, we'll see you next time live on the air with LSRTV on iRacing Live this Monday for more real sim racing. Until then, though, good night for New Hampshire. We'll see you next Saturday. What's that? The RSR is on.